Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, according to my YouTube analytics, actually just gentlemen. I think I have a viewership of like 1% female or something like that, which I can't really think that's true, but then again, it is probably very true. How is everyone? Good evening. Or good morning, or good afternoon, or happy time zone. How's the switch? I'm turned off right now. I see a King Alpha, welcome. I see a Strategy Informer, welcome. I see a Charity Gems, welcome. I see a Wildfire, welcome. And I see a Beastman, welcome, everyone. Are you ready for the grand finale that is about to happen? Can you imagine that we had 25 parts over the span of this year? I don't even remember when I started this journey. It must have been ages, but I'm excited. I'm excited to finish it. Not because it's bad, but because I really want to see how Flint's storyline wraps up. Because I do feel this is like the one storyline that like ties everything together, sorta. And also at the same time doesn't, but I think that's deliberate. The writing in Echo is very, very interesting. It feels like they have like a multiple dimension thing going on, where you have just strands, time strands everywhere, or timelines everywhere, and whatever is your interpretation is your interpretation. And yeah, I do love that. I do love that a lot. It's so well written. And it's probably one of my favorite visual novels I've read in quite some time. It is up there with Dead End Aegis. Yeah, that reminds me that this is also a thing I still need to talk about. Dead End Aegis, right? Well, but that's with magical anime girls. So would you watch a video about a visual novel with magical anime girls in it? But would you? Oh, I have planned something for 2025. We are getting a new YouTube channel that's gonna be adjacent to this one. I'd look for support. I won't stream it. I won't stream it. I just make a video about that one. I couldn't stream this here at all. YouTube would nuke this channel harder than Nagasaki. There would be no way I'd survive that. Even the video itself is probably gonna be really I'd have to tiptoe around a few things there. But yeah, I still want to do it. I'm just hesitant because all I've done so far is furry content, and but I think I've got a good base that supports me, and I should just branch out and do the things that I like to do. Anyways, it is time that I do my last announcement for today, and then we are going to go into Echo. So I have said this a bunch of times on this channel. Well, not maybe. I'm really bad at advertising my other stuff, but that's okay. I have a second YouTube channel. It's been a podcast. It's the OrcoCast. If you look on YouTube for OrcoCast, you will find it. It's where I interview game devs. And yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a good ride, and I keep that podcast around going into 2025, but not on YouTube. I will can the YouTube channel, and I will delete that one, the OrcoCast channel, and transform it into something new. I will focus on a hobby that I've been doing for over 20 years. And I do think it will be a good transition, because I do think we get a lot of overlap with other stuff in here. Synergy, as the kids call it. And it's gonna be a channel about TTRPG. So we are gonna talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Well, maybe not, I don't like Dungeons and Dragons all that much. But we are going to certainly talk about Pathfinder, Starfinder, Shadowrun, and all the other things that are really nice and cute. So get ready for the Lore Orc and the TheOrcosaurus TTRPG very soon. Next year it's coming, and I hope you're excited for it. And yeah, gonna be great. How do you not like D&D? I like D&D 3.5, and that's about it, because I don't like the 5th system, dude. I just don't like the rules. I'm sorry. I will explain that in depth probably on my channel. I like D&D, but I understand not liking it. You have to understand, I love D&D up until 4. And when they released the 4th edition, I was just out. And then Pathfinder came out with the 3.5 rule set still intact. I love the 3.5 rule set. It was probably the best thing ever since sliced bread, and I stand by that. And Pathfinder is basically D&D. So you just, it's the same essentially. I just I was just not a happy camper when they canned 3.5. That's my main beef with it. But without further ado, because we're doing much ado about nothing, Echo. El Grande finale. Do we need Nori for the finale? I think we need Nori for the finale. Nori has been here all the time, and I do think he is also, he needs to be here. He needs to be here and experience this with us. Daxton stops. The hell were you doing there? Trying to save you? His tone is intense. Salamander clearly trying to reconcile whatever the hell happened back there. The hell you were? That's what I was doing. I thought I saw you drift off further down into the lake. You weren't moving. Anytime I tried to grab you, it just drifted further off. Always with your back facing me. Eventually I couldn't see you anymore. It was too dark. He rubs his hands over his biceps rapidly, trying to warm himself. Did you hear the voice too? No, there wasn't any noise but the water rushing around my head. He exhales, looking briefly at Carl, then back at me. I'm sorry I panicked. When you touched me down there, I didn't realize it was you. You were all red. Red? At first, and then, well, I flipped my shit, I guess, until we hit the surface and you were there and I got overwhelmed and you hugged me. He cocks his head slightly. Pretty sure you were the one who was hugging me. Don't think so. I did. You swear you didn't hear a voice? He holds up the flat of his palms, shaking his head. I swear it, man. Out of all the surreal whatnots that have been transpiring, voices ain't one of them. Brown. Daxton looks back toward the water, then backsteps a few more paces. I'm not just imagining this all. This, am I? Fucking hell. Jay seems to be trying to uncoil himself from Leo. His breath wheezy and he soon breaks out into a raspy cough. Leo quickly rewraps an arm around him, patting his back gently with one of his massive paws. Easy, easy, we are safe now. The fuck we are! Peer around, even with my eyes having adjusted to the dark. I'm still having hell of a time seeing beyond 20 yards or so. Jenna gives me a quick nod, holding up Duke's pistol to show me she still has it. The soaked fennec would look comical were it not for the direness of the situation. She must put so much conditioner into her fur to keep it that fluffy. Whoa, that's 2 safes now, dude. Carl proceeds to fall flat on his back, spread eagle in the sand, his hefty gut rising and falling. You're pretty good at this crazy land stuff. He sounds so casual about it, like this is one of his video games and I'm somehow not getting my ass kicked at it. Come on, everyone. Let's go, let's get a move on. He didn't deserve. DJ mumbled something, the lynx sitting with his arm around his knees, staring out into the lake. Makes an effort to scramble back and forth a few feet as the tide comes in. Jenna moves over beside him, hugging the lynx from the side. Shh. We just need to get to Leo's. Leo lives on the outskirts of town by the old railway tracks, fairly isolated from the rest of town. Going there is not the worst idea, but if that fucking thing could catch us in a van going 50... Fuck. I saw how it moved too. Like a strobe light was being turned off and on, and it got closer with every pulse. That is still the plan. Leo affirms that with a nod, the wolf standing upright and ready. He's trying not to show his exhaustion and fear. DJ's just looking at Chase now, and he's got a shimmer in his eyes. He's crying again. Chase, did Sydney... How long did he... He's cut off before he can finish. Come on, TJ. We have to go. Chase looks over at him. His expression is harder to read. What? Everyone but Chase seems to be pretending they are not hearing the whimpering TJ, ushering him along. I rise up to my feet, nearly tripping over myself as I get used to solid ground again. Jenna pulls TJ up with her, trying to move the lynx along. Leo also follows suit, helping Chase up the shallow incline through the loamy soil into a basin of dry grass. TJ peers back over at his shoulders. He's looking at Chase. That's when I noticed a large rock with the sole pinyon tree overhanging it, There's little bullet holes in the side of the trunk, 22 caliber. I made those. I look around and right where Carl's laying, I see it. The blank stare, the blue eyes. He reminded me of a fish. This is where it happened. Carl sits upright, still clearly trying to catch his breath. At first he doesn't seem to understand, but then the realization hits him as he sees the tree. Oh shit. Carl rises up to Zeus, gawking at the tree. He's still. That thing I saw when it wrecked my car, the one that brought us here just now, it did it for a reason, you know. I mean, I used to think my house was haunted. That comes with the territory of big spooky mansions. Maybe it's us. Carl extends out his paws, his surroundings. I assume he means the whole group. I sigh, feeling rather vulnerable out in the open without my repeater. The hysteria is affecting the whole town. Everyone goes crazy in their own way. What my aunt always told me. And it even got here in the end. I wonder if she's okay, or if they found some other poor schmuck to blame the end times on. And why are we all seeing this? He gesticulates with a swirl of his hand to the tree, and then the lake itself before letting his arm fall limply at the side. We are all here for a reason. We meet each other's gaze, and Carl suddenly lets out a small chuckle, rubbing the space between his horns. Unless I'm just imagining you seeing this. I let out a puff of air and rub my face. You're dreaming about me, huh? Seems like it. He shrugs. Next time, cut out the horror games before you're going to bed, yeah? I haven't seen a single zombie, it's bullshit. Looks towards the lake and sombers. Just kidding. Yeah. I'm not immediately sure what to say. In the distance, the group looks to be trudging through the dried up reeds and heading towards the train tracks. Down the pass. They're not waiting for us, which I guess is understandable, noting Chase's condition. Carl watching them too, though he doesn't seem overly antsy to rejoin them. If Sid were, you know, a ghost or spirit or something, he wouldn't hurt us. Carl looks a little surprised, shifting his attention back towards me. What makes you so sure? I can tell by the tone in Carl's voice that he doubts that. I remember Carl was really sensitive growing up, sheltered by his folks, something fierce. He'd cry and eat and cry. Was basically a fat, spoiled TJ. It took me a while to figure him out. And for Sid, he didn't really have much grace with the sensitive types. It was cool. I know you two never got along, but he had things rough at home. He loved hanging out with the group and all. Hell, he thought TJ was cool. What? No way. Well, he never said this much plain, like he just wanted to be him, I guess. To believe God was real and had a plan. To be good without having to try so hard. There are folks who gave a shit about him. Dude, those last 6 months. Think back to Chase's words. I know he wasn't himself, not really. So Sydney was also possessed in the last 6 months of his life, I guess. And he fucked everything up. After a long pause, he shrugs. If you say so, I believe it. I was different then too, I guess. I was just a child and now I'm a man-child. I whiff off the thought that at least Carl seems calmer now. At least is doing a good job at blocking out the terror. He's still got his tie on though. His shirt's completely soaked through and I can see his chest underneath when he faces the moonlight. Man, if this wasn't real. Anything you would want to say to me, to not real me? Without hesitation, Carl speaks. Not a real big fan of fishing, dude. I furrow my brow at him and sigh before beginning to trudge through the sand after the others. Oh man, he is so into Carl, it's fucking crazy. I think that's something he needs in his life. A Carl. A Carly Carl. I furrow my brow at him and sigh before beginning to trudge through the sand after the others. I can't even see them now. They must have picked up the pace. Dude. I stop. His voice is softer, apologetic. But I like when you take me out, even if it seems like I'm whining the whole time. There's no seems like about it. You do whine the whole time. A brief sad smile crosses his thick muzzle. You guys are still here? The salamander peers at us worriedly. Carl and I exchange glances, then nod. Good dads, good I lost the group. I don't know where Leah's house is and they kept walking faster and then they just... Daxton toys with his zipper at the bottom of his hoodie. Must have gotten ahead of me. They just fucking disappeared. That's what happened. It's okay. I think we're supposed to be here. Right, dude? Carl looks at me. I cross my arms, unsure how confident I feel about this whole tapping into paranatural hunches. I don't know, it's just a feeling. The thing could have killed us easy like and didn't. Instead we're here. So where's here exactly? Where our friend died. Well, he drowned later and died in a hospital. Carl's bluntness takes me off guard. There is no coldness in his tone, though. Just the truth of it. That's terrifying. I'm sorry I asked. After a moment, he speaks again. I'm sorry for your loss. I feel like this past week, I've just been a dingleberry on you guys. It's okay. It's cool you were here. Everyone goes quiet. Daxton occasionally looks over his shoulder to see if there's any sign of the group. Send someone back for us, but no such luck. I'm starting to realize how exhausted I am. Coasting on adrenaline for an hour straight will really take the wind out of you. I lower myself first to squat, then sit cross-legged in the sand. Despite all the water and vegetation, the air still feels kinda dry and smoky. I wonder where that fire is coming from. No response. I look over and Carl and Daxton are sitting together watching the tide. They look as tired as I am. What do you want to happen here? Carl eventually speaks, his tone droll and somewhat monotone. I think they're all three completely out of it. I look toward the tree with all the bullet holes. I just want to know what happened. They're gone. I spy the ass prints of Carl and Dax in the sand next to me, but they are nowhere in sight. I quickly rise up to my feet, hesitant to call out to them, noting what happened earlier. I move up to the top of the hill. Next to us, stepping through the dry grass. As I look around, I see no movement beyond the rolling tide of the waves, illuminated only by the slight moonlight. Fuck. My whole plan of waiting here for something to happen seemed a lot better when it had others around. Now that I'm alone and unarmed, my gall is starting to fucking wane. They must have went to Leo's house. I mean, surely they'd fucking wake me first, right? Did I even pass out? I felt like more had just blinked and then bam, gone. For a moment, it feels like something's tugging the back of my shirt. I turn, expecting to see the bulbous face of Carl at my side, but there's no one there. Hey assholes, where are you? I let out a harsh whisper directed at the desert scrub around me. Again, no response. I sigh, rubbing my palms over my face. There's no choice. Gotta get to Leo's. My gaze drifts back to the beach and the bullet-ridden pinyon tree. I'm struck with a strange sense of solace, as if the spot would be somehow tranquil to me if circumstances were different. When I take stock of what's still in my soggy pockets, key phone, that is hell probably fried, and an old granola bar wrapper. With a grunt, I make my way off the beach and towards the rail tracks. I follow the familiar route, passing the occasional abandoned freight cart. It's been about 50 minutes and so far, no sight or sound of the gang or any miscellaneous townfolk. I inadvertently find myself walking on top of the rails, balancing like I'm a kid again. It kinda keeps the edge off and softens the noise of the footsteps, though it ain't very time efficient. It feels like by now I should be able to see Leo's house, but so far, nothing. It isn't until the tracks dead end perpendicular. It isn't until the tracks dead end perpendicular to the highway that I realized I'm being fucked with again. I stand at the edge of the pavement where the old bike lane has been overtaken by weeds, pavement crumbling to gravel. I had hoped that the spatially fucky shenanigans would end once we exited the van, but goddamn, why would it? You're going the right way. The back of my skull tingles and I cup hands over the sides of my head. That wasn't my goddamn thought. To Leo's? I ask out loud like a fucking loony. Like the fucking loony I am. I wait. No response. I clench my fists to my sides. Fuck it. Fuck this. Just a question. Is Flynn like always getting like the short end of the stick? Because I feel like he's about to get yeeted off the face of the earth. Is that always a thing? Poor Flynn? I take off in a run down the road, keeping the power lines on my right. I run mindlessly, knowing damn well the nature of the loop, but trying not to think about it. I'm not usually the sort to do my running in echo on account of the century's worth of broken glass that lines the side of roads. That and the fact that the sight of a 6'7" Gila sprinting tends to naturally raise alarms, even with folks who already know who I am. Somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour passes before I see something ahead. I stop somewhere along the center line of the winding old highway. The cracked asphalt blends the rider's chewing toy. I believe so. That poor guy. But that's what makes his character also special, I feel like. I stop somewhere along the center line of the winding old highway, the cracked asphalt feeling like it's chipping away at my already blistered heels. I stare at the faded building. My truck is parked outside in front for some reason. Glenn, why the fuck am I here? Right? Why do you come here? The voice in my head clearer than before, like some harsh whisper coming from inside the back of my neck and slinking its way into my head. It almost feels like I thought the words myself. Is that a fucking clue? It's a mystery. My thought was rhetorical, and hearing it respond so aptly takes me off guard. I clutch my throbbing head in both hands. I've gone full fucking schizo. When the weird shit's on the outside, it's one thing, but on the inside, I grimace, bracing myself against the gate in front of me. Gate? There's no gate in front of this place in real life. I take a closer look and see the entire place is fenced off, like some kind of high security complex. A tarnished rebar gate is the only entrance point. My truck just on the other side of the road. It's about up to my chest in terms of height, though it's got security spikes about every foot along the top. A single key lock is all that keeps each side of the gate together. It doesn't look too sturdy. I eye the truck, the bars, and then check to make sure I still have my keys in my pocket. Sure enough, I feel the familiar leather saguaro keychain between my fingers. Try your keys on the gate lock. Yeah, why not? Without even thinking, I take out my keys, flipping through the ones for City Hall. I grab the side of the lock, and push the key, twisting. To my surprise, I keep turning my wrist without resistance, and I hear a soft click as the fastening point comes unlatched. I stare at the lock, feeling some fleeting sense of accomplishment. It soon falters as I note that the lock being there in the first place doesn't make a lick of sense. What in the fucking fuck? Also, the tips of my fingers that were grabbing the lock appear to have been stained black. Paint of some kind. Someone must have painted the lock recently, though the fence itself still looks pretty faded. I wipe my hands off on the back of my pants and push the gate open. It only opens about 6 feet wide, nowhere near enough room to get my truck through. If I revved hard enough and gunned it, I could probably break through. Though, I've got a feeling that's not what I'm supposed to do. There's not really a fence in front of this place. This isn't fucking real, but I'm seeing it. So, why am I seeing it? What's the fucking question here? Duke's words from earlier come to mind. Thing is, we've all got something after us. Something bad. Won't let you leave when it starts. What's after you? As if knowing would fucking help right now. I do think it would actually help, Flynn. I will disagree with you on that one. If not, just be even more confusing in the long run. I half expect the voice from earlier to speak again, but it's silent. Just a dull throb in the back of my head. The smart thing to do, the logical thing, as Stax would put it, would be to sit down under a nice tree and just ride this out like a bad trip. Maybe get some sleep, that could fix it. Like turning a computer on and off and on again. I peer up at the sky. The red lights from the building make it seem as though the sky itself was blood red, expanding to various pinkish hues to the horizon. Like fucking hell, I could get a wink during this shit. The pounding in the back of my skull just keeps thudding away. A constant beat that reverberates through my head like a cavern. I step up to the door with the engraved bit of this signage next to it. Here for the seed. That of course ain't what it usually says. Cheeky ass winking smiley face is still there though. I let out a short sigh. You fucking idiot. I turn the handle and pull it, but it doesn't budge. I push next, and still nothing. The handle shouldn't turn if it's locked. I'd know. I've been here before when it was. I push once more and I'm surprised that it gives the door opening. I only leave it open a crack. Still a bit worried about whatever weirdness lies within. The first thing I notice is the burning smell. It's stronger than it is outside. It is hot as hell too. If this place had a kitchen, I'd swear something was being overcooked in it. At first it's quiet. Nothing but the creaking wood beneath my feet. Then music starts to play. I notice the boxy television set in the corner of the room is turned on. A grainy old cricket match on the screen. All very much the same from what I remember. Except for a lone otter sitting at the bar counter. We are going full on Shining right now, huh? Well, not entirely, but it's fine. I'm just goofing. He holding something to his head. An ice pack, and he's nursing some shitty. Yeah, somebody did. And he's nursing some shitty import pale ale in his free paw. There's no one else here but him. At least in the front area. Hey, you! The other's posture stiffens. Yeah, you. Are you real? What? He responds back, his tone exasperated and groggy. Confusion. That's a good sign, I guess. Step a little closer. The other using the bar counter to rotate himself in his swivel bar stool. He's decked out in a skull t-shirt, cargo pants, and one of those lame scout caps that only jarheads, leather daddies, and theater kids wear. I don't think it's the sleep paralysis demon though, but I have a hunch who it is. He seems dazed, squinting at me like I'm bright light. Someone tuning up the orchestra in here? What? After a moment, something seems to click and his eyes widen slightly, a long smile crossing his snouty muzzle. It is Sydney, motherfucker. He pushes himself to his feet, making his way through the bar's haze. Yeah, I think it's Sydney, isn't it? Sydney from his I Got Hot timeline. What are you doing here, you big ass bitch? He claps my shoulder roughly. Then pulls me into a tight hug. For an otter, he's got a strong grip and I actually irk aloud as he pats my back. The fuck? What the hell are you doing here? After a moment, he pulls away, raising a shadowed brow beneath his hat. It's then that I notice his eyes, baby blue, almost gray. Not a common color for his kind of otter. There's some bags on them though. Like he hasn't slept in some time. I was fixing to ask you the same thing. It's been dead all night and I wasn't expecting company. Kinda unreal seeing you feel like this though. He asks, astonished and with a slight air of sheepishness. Well, a while. Holds his arms over his chest, the otter looking up at me from beneath the brim of his hat with a sort of wry expression. He seems happy to me, and it's all so familiar. Wait a second. I blink. Jesus fuck, Sid? He lets out an amused noise, nodding. Yeah. Wait. Don't even try to tell me that you're here by coincidence. He's an adult? Fucking 6 feet tall, I'd reckon. He's in shape too, rocking a fuller muscle shirt. And look around as if expecting to see Chase around the corner with a video camera and a shit-eating grin. There's still no one around but us though. I'm sure there's a reason I am here. He seems to perk up some, doing a one-handed finger gun gesture my way. The other nurses an ice pack against his head. I knew it. I mean, I'm glad, yeah. Did you get my Christmas package? I wasn't sure you'd like it. Saw them in the Macy Mace thrift down in Elvin. Haunted Hacienda. Deadly Love Rivals 2. Final Obsession. The Choir Boy. And Horse Sleuth. Shitty B movies I got from the bargain bin. You know, the sort. Not a lot of plot to get in the way of the film. Plus, I bundled them up with a bunch of crossfire shooting mags. Oh yeah, I also threw in some jerky I got from a trade show after my match in Desert Spring. He became a wrestler? Awesome. The jerky is super good. Hatch green chili flavored. You know? That's where they grow that shit in mass, right? World capital. I can't help but stay absolutely flabbergasted. So, Sydney, I think Flynn is in purgatory right now, or something akin to purgatory, or he's hallucinating Sid. But it's a nice twist that they show Sydney basically what would have become of him if he had grown up. This is what he'd look like. When I don't immediately respond, his smile dissipates some. Maybe you didn't get it. Fucking delivery guys, right? Probably some weasel or something with a good smeller. He honks his own black nose. Pining for my jerky. Am I fucking dreaming right now? Am I asleep or just tripping? The other, Sydney, he's looking at me more worriedly. You wanna sit down or something? I look around the still empty bar. Facade or not, my legs are killing me. Sure. He motions towards some old wooden velvet bar stools next to a raised table in the corner, and we take our seats. After Sydney grabs his drink, of course. I don't know where the bartender went. He's usually in the back. I look towards the smoke room door. Nothing seems to have changed about it. He? Yeah, he big tiger fella. Only guy who works here as far as I know. He scrunches his brow, thinking for a moment. Unless he got a sex and species change to become a bleach blonde bunny with big bouncy tits, I don't know. I don't think so. Hey, Downey. I grunt. What the hell he's been talking about? What the hell's been talking about? He was into dressing up in chick panties. But I don't think we are talking about the same person. Or the same bar. Sid smirks, looking at me with a little wide-eyed. Thinking of one of your gay bars, right? The fuck are you talking about? This is the gayest bar in the entire state. Passing through, man, will be lurking and working. Alright. Thank you for being here. If this is real, there'd be 20 fucking dudes reaming each other behind that door as we speak, including the bartender. I point to the familiar no smoking labeled door. My tone more firm now. Including you? This comment has a derisive teasing tone. After a second he blinks, looking back over his shoulder. See what I'm pointing at. You've been poking guys who go to clown school? That's a goddamn tiny janitor's closet. Says so on the door. Went at the door. For a brief, fleeting moment, I can almost quite make out the little mop and bucket symbol posted in the center. Blackgate. I'm gonna look at that. But it's simply not there. I honestly don't know why I came here tonight. I guess I just had a good feeling about it in my gut. And by that I mean I saw the picture outside for the Chipotle dusted beer nuts. And my stomach got a boner. And I guess it also worked out since I got to see you. He thrusts his arm towards me, trying to put on a cheeky, sarcastic grin, like he's trying to play off the statement, as he realizes how sappy it sounds. there, to my knowledge, has never been advertisement for spiced beer nuts posted outside the bar here. Jesus. Slowly lean back into my chair, letting out a long exhale. It's real good to see you too. More so than you probably know. He opens his muzzle to speak again, but I cut him off. Sid, where do you think we are? He takes a swig from his beer, peering at me for a long moment before examining his surroundings. It's you know... Snaps his fingers a few times. The beer nut place? He frowned, shifting his eyes back on his noggin. Fuck, I'm not that sauced. I just hit my head real hard and on the counter when I was bending over to pick up my phone. Shit. Did we have plans to meet here? I genuinely don't fucking know. I sure as fuck didn't I trail off for a moment, swallowing away the tight feeling in the back of my throat. I pull my phone from my pocket, turning it over in my hand, still dead. I wasn't expecting to ever see you again. His blue eyes widen, the other giving me the same doe-eyed look he'd give me after we'd been hanging out and I'd said I have to go. He never wanted to go home. Look, I know after I bailed on the interview you set me up with, you were pretty pissed, rightfully so too. Fully justified, I get that. I know I fucked up. What? I'm trying to get clean. I swear to shit. It's just so fucking hard, you know? You're on drugs? No, I mean, not right now. I'm sober as fuck. I looked to the ale in his paw. Dan's booze? Look, all the other guys I wrestle with at the road show, though, they're all on the shit. Everyone's trying to bulk up and stuff so they actually get a pop when the crowd sees them. His tone is completely defensive. Oh, he's a backyard wrestler. Poor guy. Well, maybe he can rise. Maybe he can rise still. His tone is completely defensive. The other looking me straight in the eyes, searching for any sign of doubt. There's this guy, Cody Altaro, or, well, he goes by the name Rico Renaissance now. He's been getting booked as my rival, and the bastard's up 25 pounds in 2 months. 25 pounds. No way in fuck is he doing that with chicken breasts and protein shakes. Wait. You're telling me you wrestle for a living? That would explain the muscle shirt and those tacky ass wristbands. Like, that's your actual goddamn job? Sydney leans back, some still peering at me with the same searching look. Yeah? You used to get me to shows all the time. SFF? Sunday Funday fights? It's mainly fucking juggalos and shit now. And we get paid in pennies and grass, but, you know, it's a start, I'm tough. He sniffs, his eyes drifting down to the arms on the sticky table surface. He doesn't seem grossed out by it. Ryan told me they never clean up in the front anymore. Said not to touch the underside of the table either, since they are packed solid with two things, scum and cum. Can these fuckers at least go in the smoke room to cum? I notice patchy areas in his fur near his inner elbows, and it takes me a moment to register. He's got fucking injection marks. He seems to see me staring and pulls his arms back. I gawk at him for a moment, Sydney bracing himself for whatever I'm about to say. It gives me a sinking feeling in my gut, but it makes sense. With the shit Sid dealt with growing up, every sign was pointing toward him getting some sort of chemical addiction down the road. It ain't just roids, is it? Well, yeah, you know me. He takes some shit for, you know, the mental stuff. Mental stuff? I'm assuming it ain't prescription. You assume correctly. He speaks slowly, twiddling his thumb in his lap, his eyes dancing from the bottle in front of him to me and back again. I'm not sure what to say. Oh yeah, I see the injection mark now here. I didn't notice it before. On the drawing. I'm not sure what to say. We sort of just sit there in awkward silence. I know you never really understood all the fucky stuff going on in my head. I just wanna thank you for sticking around as long as you did. Can't say the same for anyone else. I'm not really an easy person to have the back of, especially when I'm one person 1 minute and another the next. I remember the shit Chase was talking about earlier, about the incident at the ice cream place in Pueblo. It was the way he just clicked and changed. He continues speaking, the otter shifting his thick tail listlessly behind him. And tell your roommate Dax thanks as well. I know you all both really tried to get me on a stable job at that print shop. But fuck, it would have never worked out. A schizo like me can't hold down a position like that. Instead of Carl, Sydney was the one I would have been helping. I realize he's still out there, caught up in all this hysteria without me. While I'm stuck in this place. This isn't real. The other gives me another strange look. He clearly was expecting me to be acting different than I'm now. Like he'd been preparing to speak to me for some time, and I've completely derailed his plans to get a lot of the shit he wanted to say off his chest. You're not real. I'm just fucking dreaming right now. I thought you couldn't dream. You used to get annoyed as hell with me when I'd go off about the shit I'd dream about. Yeah, well, I'm now. How would you even know what a dream was if you had one? After all, you look more like you just woke up. I shake my head, watching the blurry brown and black form in front of me shift from side to side. I keep expecting him to just not be there when my vision refocuses. Look, let me just lay this shit out plain like. You can't be here. You're dead. You drowned over a decade ago in Lake Emma. I think Chase did it. Or at least I think he did. Sydney looks uncomfortable, as if the slight semblance that is all some elaborate fun ruse I'm pulling on him is looking increasingly unlikely. Okay, well, that didn't happen, no nuts. And Chase? That twink couldn't hurt a fly. He sighs, rotating his half-empty bottle of pale on the table and smearing the ring of condensation that forms beneath it. I'm fucking right here and I just want to talk to you. His tone turns tears hurt even. No shit, Bert, you died. TJ saw you two bodies with brown fur writhing in the water before you drowned. They all thought you died on your own somehow. Like you passed out or some shit, but I knew better. I see a flicker of realization in Sydney's eyes, and again, he shifts uncomfortably. I think I remember what you're talking about. But I'm not dead, I'm here, motherfucker, feel me. He reaches across the table and takes my wrist, squeezing hard. It's like he's trying to give me an Indian burn, like he used to. I yanked back my hand. Fuck off! He stares wide-eyed at me, more slightly agape. A moment passes before he speaks again. Why are you acting like this? You can't fucking just enjoy goddamn company? Because you're so damn intense. You're not even high right now. This isn't fucking fair. I'm sorry. I'm your goddamn best friend. Hell, you're like my gay, scaly brother. It can't fuck with me like this. This is too real. I quickly shake my head, closing my eyes. You're dealing with me right now, not the thing inside my head. And that's fucking becoming a rarer and rarer thing these days. So I'm just really trying to enjoy what time I've got. Just talk to me. I don't want to think. He trails off, staring down at his lap. Think about what? There it is. The change. The music seems to sound further and further away until it dissipates entirely. Maybe you're right, Flynn. What the fuck are you talking about? The sick heat left forgotten in conversation began crawling up my back. Grabbing onto the table to help maintain my own posture. It's clear that something has shifted. The little bit of light in Sydney's eyes is just gone. 2 bodies. What? 2 bodies, right? I remember now. Man, that shit fucking sucked, didn't it? Shifting uncomfortably, the topic had reversed onto what he had previously denied. 2 bodies, Sid. You're fucking dead, I saw you. I looked you in the face and I saw nothing. I gripped the edge of my seat, my gut like it's twisting in on itself. It's like I'm standing in front of a roaring fireplace, the smell of smoke and fresh ash licking my nostrils, while the heat tickles my scales. Sydney's gone forever, and all that's left is this. Who are you? It feels different to me. The thing that isn't Sydney looks around. This is not the smoke room. It looks like it, but not to me. The other continues to stare off to the side before seeming to realize I asked a question. Damn, I am. While he speaks, he points towards you, across the table with both hands. There's something metal in his grasp, long, with a barbed end. I can't make out what it is exactly. I swallow and try to speak evenly. Who's Sam? It's the guy that got flattened by Sid's dad. A facsimile of a person that was. I'm dabbing myself into ink so I never dry, but it smudges. What is going on? Simulation. In here, I become we with you. Me? What palkas, no. I'm not sure I hear that first part correctly. At first they came through the gate, then they came through the stars. There is a pause. Did they come for you? He looks at me. So they came through the stars. We gonna turn full on Lovecraft now. He looks at me and I feel my legs begin to shake. I tremble, wishing I was anywhere but here. The others before, they bounce, undulating in constant restless motion. The hollowed figure heaves, breathing heavily as he sways, hitting his body up and down. He stares at me with eyes that remind me of the fish Carl and I catch at the pond. But that's not what you want. You want the answers? After all, it's a bit late for love, and too still for lust. I just need to fucking know what happened to Sydney, so that this hysteria stops and that everyone else is safe again. That could help. But you're sure you really want to know? You can't chase the truth until you're red in the face. The thing looks over toward the smoke room door. What was once Sydney raised his arm to point at it with unnatural, stuttery movement. It ebbs and flows like the tide. You can ride it. Each time the tide comes in, a little less of what it once was. Abstracted. It goes where sorrow sprouts and takes with it what it can before, rolling back out. Some tides are particularly large. He waves his blue paws at me, seeing, and again I see the metal thing grasp in his paw. He seems to me looking at it and holds in front of me. You burn them all down around you until the truth remains. You needn't the superfluous kindling, for those are but the lies they tell others and eventually themselves. You'd make a good detective if you weren't marinating in your own nepotistic squalor. Unlovable, shameful, a sin to all who initially cared for you. Truly only belonging amongst the sawdust, semen and ash. Thoughts drowned out amidst the moaning and groaning of unfamiliar shadows. The only one who precisely knew, who precisely loved you, ushered into the tide by those you thought fondly of, and justice denied again and again and again. He presses the barbed tip of the rod into the table. There were 6, and now there is 5. The disordered otter is looking at the ring in his grasp as he says this. It's a fire poker. I hesitate to speak, my mouth feeling dry and my forked tongue caught between my teeth. Yeah, I get it, but are you what I saw earlier in Leo's van? No. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. We were there. We. He keeps saying we. Well, what I saw with Sydney, was that real? It could be. Somewhere in here. He seems to be referring to the poker. I reach for it, but my hand can't quite touch the metal. Faces right through it. The hollowed thing just stares at me, watching my futile attempt. I slowly rise to my feet. My legs gelatin-like as I wobble some. I manage to steady myself with my tail, grasping the sticky table for support. The disordered otter just watches me somehow, looking almost eager. With no small amount of trepidation, I begin approaching the smoke room door. The sound of cackling flames growing louder the closer I get. This has to be it. The alternative being doing nothing, which, while real damn appealing, probably wouldn't stop this going on outside. If that's how this works, that is. I grasp the handle. Fuck me. Many have. I stop, look back over my shoulder. The figure is leering closer now. Fuck you too. As I turn back to the door, face the door, I swear I see the shape smile. I turn the knob and step inside. The air is absolutely electric and I feel myself involuntarily shiver. I brace myself against the wood-sided walls, staring through the darkness. I never seen this empty before. And I get the sensation in my gut that something terrible is about to happen. Looking back, I don't think the shape followed me. I'm still here. God damn it, leave me alone. I feel my blood chill, but I keep moving. I ignore it just to ignore it. Just ignore it. This version of the smoke room is impossibly large. I keep walking through the darkness, expecting to reach an end, but it doesn't happen. It just keeps looping in on itself. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking for. I hear a sharp crack, a gunshot, followed by a low cry, someone's wailing. It doesn't sound like it's coming from inside, but rather a reverberating noise outside, far away. The whole room begins to vibrate, as if activated. The rumbling, it's stronger on one side of the room. I walk in that direction. As I approach, I hear more wailing, more voices, some sounding different and rather close. Glenn! No, there's huffing and panting, the sound of hooves and soft feet upon a stone floor. Yes, they are trying to catch up to me at the other end of the long, cavernous hallway. The rebar from before. Jesus, I'm not in the smoke room. I'm in the mines, and it's very, very hot. I feel my whole body rumble, like shockwaves are bouncing my insides. Kinetic energy, electric, like 1,000 subwoofers reverberating from the stone walls. We are here. The source. The seed. Dude! Just stay back! Initially, it's like a cold shower, an icy sensation that presses against my front and washes over me like a tide. I recoil, but there's nowhere to withdraw back to. At first measure, the body is unable to discern extreme cold from extreme heat. Though that time soon passes and the burning feels all too real. I can feel it seep in between the cracks of my scales and lick at the more vulnerable flesh part beneath. I'm standing in fire, but I don't see it. I see nothing. I can't even tell where it's coming from. Wherever I go, the burning follows. The fabric of my clothes ripple, and the seams begin to snap away. Some of it falls to the floor, while the rest clings to my body like new skin. Even the air breathed burns, making my body insides boil. This isn't in my head. This is real. I am burning. I flail into the darkness, running now. After a while, it feels like I'm practically gliding. I hear a sound and move toward it. Fucking help me! I utter, my voice raspy and light. Footsteps. There are several of them in a bonfire. I see the silhouette of people running, flailing about just like me. Panic everywhere. A woman, Genevieve Sanders, the mail carrier, is standing above the fire. A gun is in her hand. Salem's body is burning, and besides her is Auntie face down with a bloody hole in the back of her head. No! I pinch myself trying to wake up. I pinch so hard, I feel the scale on my arm split in half, and blood that seems like it's boiling pools from it. It quickly evaporates, and all that's left is a mark of reddish pink flesh beneath the scar tissue. I look up, and she's still standing there, mouth agape like she's frozen, but her eyes follow me in real time. She sees me, but it's like she can't act. Why? Fucking why? I receive no answer from the horrified visage. She's still holding the gun. She'll do it again. She'll do it again. Stop her. I lunge and it's like she's made of sand. Flesh dissolving away beneath my claws as I touch her. And then, it's like a rope wrapped around my waist yanks me back. The wind is like sandpaper against my burning head as I fly through blurred shapes and silhouettes. Hey, Nana. What did I do? Was that real? God, Auntie. Jesus fuck, what's happening? Next thing I know, I'm in front of City Hall again. Though everything's different. There's a crowd gathered around the large tree outside, and their clothes are all old-timey like. Men in suspenders, women in prairie blouses. Their faces are furious. Furious blurs. Their faces are furious blurs, polygonal masses of fur and teeth that seem to exude their emotion more strongly than their distinct facial feature. A Mesita Fennec stands upon a wooden stool with a noose wrapped around his neck, the priest next to him reading his last rites. The man is so angry, so hurt, tears like waterfalls down his matted yellow cheeks. Someone hurls a piece of hardtack at him that hits him square in the jaw, but he doesn't react. The cries of the crowd are obscured, disordered. Something about a child or children. There's a man at the edge of the crowd, a ram. One the Fennec is staring at. He looks like Carl. The ram pivots on his hooves, turning to walk away, but stops when he sees me, his expression vacant. The Fennec shouts indiscernible hatred at the man, and just then, the stool is kicked from beneath him. As he sways, feet kicking, and driblets of piss cascading down his overalls. It's as if the ground itself begins to bounce. It's something so palpable and awful that it's beyond words, that I can feel within my mind more readily than the burning of my flesh. The stony faces of the mob seems completely unaware that their actions are feeding something far greater than they will ever know. I'm sucked away again and feel my scales fall from my body like black and orange confetti. My thudding heartbeat is becoming increasingly irregular. I'm standing behind a shelf now. There's someone in a hoodie next to me, but he doesn't notice I'm here. He's got a camcorder. I think it's Salem. He's younger. My best friend is back. It's Brian. A large bear, larger than me by a couple inches, steps out from what looks like the bathroom door. It's Brian, the meth dealer who lives in a trailer on the outskirts of the old city limits. I see him at the smoke room. Sometimes he deals there. Neither of them are looking in my direction. I soon see why. There's a fennec on what looks like a rack nearby. One of his eyeballs is gone, but he's still alive. On the television behind Brian, a slideshow of grotesque images flashes by. One of the fennec's missing eye on the smoke room counter. It looks like the place was closed, so nobody could walk in and see what they were doing. In the real world, the fennec's words are garbled and distorted, as if coming from an old VHS. He's feigning love for the bear, asking for him to hold him tender, like instead of whatever else he has planned. The fennec's face becomes increasingly blurry. Is that Danny? Casey? Heath? There were so many, they blurred together. Salem's grinning. The reflection. Oh. Now I know why Salem didn't have his eyes anymore when they found him. Well, Salem, your voyeurism fetish for snuff movies got you killed, and rightfully so. Salem's grinning, the reflection of his camcorder screen leaving a stark glint in his eyes. I feel myself move out from behind the shelf, beyond my own will. There's a rumbling hole in my gut. I'll be pulled away any moment now. I want to murder Brian so bad. Brian sees me, his eyes going as large as saucers. They are real. All he can get out, for my hand passes through his gut. The hairy flesh seems like it practically disintegrates at my fingertips, until I notice that it's all splattered on the wall beside me. As I'm pulled away, I can just make out the tusk smiling face of Salem. It's full of shock, but the smile remains, and so does the maimed fennec. I gasp into the void, the fresh blood mixing with my own. My actions no longer feel entirely of my own volition. It's like something's pulling in my skull. Like back at City Hall when I condemned Chase. We make the justice we're given. I pop back in front of the familiar ram and salamander, like all that had happened was some horrible vision. But my body feels the same, and the gaping expression of the duo show no sign of relief. Ah! I can barely make the noise with my throat the way it is. I can practically feel my vocal cords snap away as I speak, letting my only exude a guttural growl. I reach out to him, seeing the sinewy red appendage my arm has become. Oh! The tunnel shakes around me. Carl and Dax both turn and flee. Salamander screaming his absolute lungs out. I'm terrifying them. As they're about to run to round the corner, I see Carl hesitate. He looks back to me. I can't see his expression and I can't call out to him. I have to let him know I'm still in here. With some strained effort, I turn my wrist around and close. But all but one of my fingers. The ram continues to stare as the rumbling increases. I'm pulled away once more. It goes on like this. At each stop, I lose more and more of myself, mentally and physically. Each visage that appears before me, some new unspeakable evil I hadn't fathomed existing. From time to time, I let the thing inside my head take more and more control. Sometimes I don't have the control in the first place. When the suffering is strongest. Where Sam thrives, he drives. Like my body, I become numb. All but my vision and hearing is gone, and they are swiftly fading too. I keep closing my eyes, waiting for it to end, but it doesn't. I can't die. I hear the soft pitter of feet on the rocky embankment. Somewhere down the way, stones are being skipped. Lap. Someone threw in a big one, then sniffling followed by a low sob. Crying has become so familiar to me, I hear it more than anything else. It feels like singing, isn't it? Purest expression of emotion. Fuck you. But this one is more familiar to me as well. I can just make out the audible sound of little pebbles rolling down the hill, followed by a heavy thud. I turn around to see a faint gray silhouette with big blue eyes. What? The voice hits me like electricity. This is it. I'm what she saw that day at on the beach by the outlet. Finally. He screams. They always scream. I have to follow him. I have to see it. I descend beneath the waves, and I see excess fat drift from my body into the tidal current. The water is abrasive, but I'm able to glide through it, swimming without swimming. Something pops, and suddenly I can see from my... Oh, that's just fucking mean. There's white water ahead, crashing movement. A slight bit of reddish pink mist dissolves in the current in front of me. No. No! I strain myself to hear, trying to keep absolutely still. But other than the faint occasional splash, there's nothing. Eventually the splashing stops, and I know my best friend is dead. I rest in the current, and the voice in my mind is Pt.25. mostly silent, not pressing me into movement or action. Yeah, exactly. That is so fucking mean. He knows everything he didn't want to know, and the one thing he wanted to know, he'll never know. Blue eyes. There they are. And though my eyesight is gone, and my skull punctuated with nothing but empty sockets and orifices, I see something. Bright blue eyes and starry skin. It's Daxton, I am sure of it. He does not move, though I can read the intent in his eyes that he very much wants to. Instead, he remains motionless, and we stare at each other. I imagine speaking to him, telling him what's happened to me. My words are rambling, my mind not what it used to be, but it doesn't seem to matter. He meets my gaze regardless. I ask him if Carl's alright, and of course he doesn't respond. Then I simply state that I hope he's okay. I go on and tell him about all the crap the Ram and I have been through. About how much I hope he fucking makes it out decently enough. I'm sure they'll give him another shot at the interview on account of townwide madness. I'll tell him I hope it's over now. It's never over. Never over. Wherever he is. And finally, I apologize for what an absolute ass I was to him when he deserved goddamn none of my angsty bullshit. He never shows an indication of understanding or even blinking. Most surprisingly of all, it feels as though hours pass and the hysteria simply folds on whisking me away. No rumbling, no fire, no screeches into sudden chaos. Just a slow, eventual feeling of drifting away somewhere else. Somewhere dry. There's the telltale sound of hot water heater rumbling nearby. It's humming away. Someone must be taking a shower. Or it's laundry day. I feel vibrations more than I actually hear the thing. Then a faint whimper. The sound is stifled. Wait! Did he just become fucking Jenna's stand? Is he that fucking monster? Yeah, he fucking is. Yeah, of course he is. He killed Brian too. I mean, they were like Salem, Brian, and the Fennec. Like, it's high-pitch, feminine, girl. The distortion is only slight. I bring my hand up and feel wooden slats. When I push harder, the whole surface bends and folds outward. The closet door. The sniffling stops. Slowly I hold up my hand and do a small wave. Gentle movements. As I'm sure the distortion is making it look faster. Quiet. All I can hear is the water heater in the girl's room. There's the shuffling of sheets and small footsteps. The writers hated Flynn, didn't they? They really kinda did. Fuck me, he really became it. Hi. Her voice is timid. There's another long pause. Yeah, Monsters Inc. It's different now. Are you real? I think for a moment. Then slowly, I shake my head. Wow. What the fuck happened? And why, of all people, Flynn? There is no happy music in the background. What are you saying? Jesus, this is fucking... This is fucking gnarly, dude. Well, that was my video game. Sorry. Ah, yeah, okay. Oh. I don't know how I feel about this ending. Why Flynn? I mean, they had to tie it up. But like that, holy shit, dude. Oh. So, Flynn is basically the creature. Ah, this is so... Oh. He just tries to talk to his friends again, and he travels through time so fucked up and just tries to reach... Oh, this is bad, dude. Holy shit. Who the others hated the most? Fucking Flynn. Like they said no, there is no hero here. There is no hero ending. You're getting fucked. Like I was... What happens if I say I'm gonna stay a while? Oh, 5 years later. Oh wait, there's... we are getting... Is that Arches again? Seriously, this is gonna be such a good fucking time. It's the epilogue. Is it different from the other epilogue on TJ's route? The big grizzly nudges the coyote playfully, almost knocking the canine into the passenger window. Yes, it's different. Okay. Yeah, and then we play this, and then I have to like gather my thoughts on what I just played on Flynn's ending, because holy fuck. I'll keep your paws on the wheel. Or your paw at least. Cameron eyes the giant half-eaten burger in the bear's equally giant paw. Jeff's other paw casually steers the wheel, elbow resting out through the open window. The bear looks happier than he's been in a while, somehow grinning as he chews. The coyote sighs and stares out his own window, watching the desert landscape fly by. It was nothing like this in his hometown, and he found himself wishing he was back amongst the pine forests, something he'd been wishing since he moved to to Pueblo for school. Technically, this was his natural habitat, but he found the whole place depressing somehow. Empty and dry and rough. What you pouting for? I'm not pouting. Yeah, you are. Cameron sighs, deciding to change the subject. So why couldn't Larry go again? I don't know, said something about like his car breaking down. I think he just flaked though. Aren't there other haunted places in Pueblo that we could have gone to, like by the school? The bear shakes his head, letting go of the wheel to crumble up the foil of that bad package that package his sandwich, tossing it into the bag. Not like Echo, dude. This place is the most haunted town in the entire fucking world. Cameron sighs once again, then suddenly grasps the seat as the car swerves and turns hard onto a smaller road, heading toward a big blue lake. What the fuck? Oops, sorry, I almost missed the turn. The drive continues and eventually the map on the dash chimes, indicating they've reached their destination. Why? Because a lot of shit happened here. Grizzly hops out of the car, making the entire thing tilt sideways as he squeezes his bulk out before reaching the back in before reaching back in for the camera bag. He takes out a small compact camcorder from inside and wraps it around his wrist. He flicks a switch and Cameron sees the familiar red recording light flashing. He points the lens at the coyote and he quickly covers his face, letting out a frustrated sigh. I'm not the horror you're after, Death. With that, he unbuckles and slides out of the car. The bear waits for him, reaching out a large padded paw. Cameron takes it and is immediately drawn into a tight embrace and a kiss. The coyote tenses up for a moment, then waits until Devin releases him. Can you not do that right after you ate a big greasy hamburger? Cameron makes a show of wiping his lips. Devin rolls his eyes. No pleasing you, is there? Nevertheless, the grizzly holds out his paw again and Cameron takes it. The two of them walking towards the town center. Not a pleasant walk. Most of the infrastructure pretty shoddy condition, overgrown in places. Sagebrush and dry vegetation. So where are we meeting this guy? I told you, the old civic building. Wait, you mean City Hall? Cameron recalls the late night rants with Devin over the phone, the bear regaling every last detail of the incident. Where they shot the mayor? Up! The coyote releases his paw from the large clawed grip of its boyfriend, peering up at him with slightly wider eyes. Damn, you're absolutely sure he's okay with this? Yeah, look, he's the one who did the report on this town after the happening in the first place. Devin tries to reassure. Tries to put a reassuring smile on. He seems keenly aware that folks sometimes find his large predator grin unnerving, but Cameron almost told him it was cute. And he's gay, so you know. The bear wraps his paw around Cameron's own. No need to worry about that. Eventually the two reach the old town center. Sure enough, there's a man standing in the gravel parking lot with his paws in his pocket. He doesn't appear to notice the two at first. Devin takes the opportunity to film him from afar. The sun's behind him. So it casts his front in shadowed silhouette, giving him an eerie visage, which might be able to use in the video. Civic building's roof is fully collapsed, faded gray top over the top of the wall. All that's protecting the interior, like most of the structure. They passed on the way in, a laminated notice of condemnation stamped with the county seal is posted on to the front door. After about 15 seconds or so, it's fairly clear the older guy is aware of the two college kids' presence. As he cans his head in their direction, they quickly shuffle, wearing sheepishly smiles in already sweat-stained clothing. Chase? Yo. Hi. The bearded otter seems to be looking at their held paws, which they quickly unclasp and shake his own in turn. He offers them a sort of melancholy smile. You two been together long? He actually grew a beard, yeah. Oh yeah, sorta. Coyote rubs the back of his neck, the beard wrapping an arm around his shoulder. Yep, a while. Must have been tough growing up in the sticks out of here for a gay guy especially. Jace lets out a little amused grump, reaching into his pockets, withdrawing a pack of cigarettes. Man, imagine if he was beardless and wearing shades. Oh man. Imagine if he was burnt to a fucking crisp. Yeah, I guess my ex still lives down by the Gretchen way. You know, by the old rail yard. Devin nods. Couldn't sell his property after what happened. Well, that and some other shit that we don't really need to get into. Oh well, regardless. Must have been tough being the only gay kids out here growing up. He sniffs. Looks off to the side. Y'all mind if I smoke? Chase is completely broken, isn't he? Like smoking and all that shit. It's completely fucked up, I guess. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, plenty of fresh air out here. I don't mind. The otter not sticking a cigarette between his lips and flicking his lighter. However, it doesn't bring the flame up. Instead, just holding it in front of him. The seconds pass and slowly he shifts the lighter in the direction of the old civic building. Cameron and Devin watch the otter expectantly. After everything he's been through, some oddball behavior is to be expected after all. So, I'm a big fan of your original report you did. Well, I did my own little video on what happened when I was first starting my channel. You know, used a lot of my footage. Devin begins looking a little nervous, laughing some to try and lighten the mood. I credited you, of course. I'm just some haunting vlogger. You're like a professional journalist and everything. Jace finally lights his cigarette. Was. Huh? Was a professional journalist. I got pushed out of my reporting gig with K-Gua like 2 years ago now. No one liked my stuff anymore. No matter what I did, it wasn't ever as good as the piece I finished in college. Devin blinks. I'm sorry to hear that. He pauses, thinking to himself for a moment. Only ending where he's not haunted by Sam and his life is still shit. Yeah, definitely. Wow, that bar must have been real low. You know, those news media companies are all fascist shit factories anyways. F. Without all the big billionaire funding, they'd be going the way of the dinosaurs. Relegated to sports and weather for senior citizens. Jay stares blankly up at the much taller bear, unsure of how to respond to that. Devin clears his throat. And your social media profile said you were still... I haven't updated that in a while. Ah. Jace takes a long drag from his cigarette, stopping at the first speed bump. He seems to become increasingly aware of the uneasy stares from the two college kids in front of him. Sorry, it's been difficult few years for me. I wouldn't know, Chase. The statement from the other makes sense, looking at him now. He's awfully haggard for someone in his mid to late 20s. His facial scruff untrimmed, the dye job looking less than stellar. Cameron can still help but to think he'd been cute if he cleaned himself up a bit. Or perhaps he has just a thing for sad eyes. Sad eyes were fixated on the civic building now. Casey's lips thinning tightly around his cigarette, squeezing ash from the tip. Coyote steps up, placing a paw on the other's shoulder. Hey, it's alright. We don't want to put any pressure on you. Right, Dev? Right. Devon sounds genuinely supportive. Jace can see why Cameron might be so taken with him. It would be nice to have something like that again. And he finds himself relishing the paw on his shoulder. He didn't realize he was so touch-starved. Still, Chase can't help but avoid their reassuring gazes. The other rubbing at the old spider bite mark on his neck. Let's begin, shall we? The trio begins to head northward, past the burned-out newer buildings that went up in smoke during the hysteria. So the hysteria basically in Flint's timeline went on full force. Like, in the other timelines we didn't see all that much of the hysteria. In this one it seemed to be like completely got out of control. Devon finds an odd-looking globe broken in the middle of the road. Cameron offers to carry it with them, though Devon seems rather adamant about not looting anything. Chase doesn't appear to care either way. Eventually they arrive on the outskirts of the nearby mine. Warning signs posted damn near everywhere. It looks like barbed wire fencing had started being erected along the main entrance, though Chase mentions the county gave up on trying to fully close it a couple of months ago after folks keep cutting through. So this is more than one entrance to the mine here. They are all barred off now. I mean, the main entrance was locked up tight even before the crab show 5 years ago. Devon sets up his tripod, pointing it toward the black void between the rocks. This is where they found the bodies? Case shakes his head. That's off the side entrance in the A level. This is the main entrance. It goes all the way from A to F level. How deep is that? Depends. The deepest shaft goes down 1,900 feet. Jeez. Chase holds up his hand, gesturing behind him. It's been like half a century since the mine's been active, so rotting supports and the like most certainly have caved in most of it. Devon nods, a tight frown crossing the bear's broad muzzle. It's clear he's got something on his mind. What about, you know, that one guy? Hmm? The mayor's nephew. I've read the reports and all, but what's your take on what happened? Jace hesitates for a moment, not having expected the question, or at least hoping it wouldn't come up at all. The other steps back, bringing his fingertips up to the bars of the mine. He touches them in the cave wall they are embedded in. He draws back and shows the two his blackened fingertips. The cave is scorched. Well, the theory is there was flammable gases that were ignited in the lowest levels. It created a sustained burn that started billowing smoke up in the air for a couple of weeks after the whole happening. You know, but why did he walk inside while it was like that? You were one of the last people to see him after that. Yeah, he's inside there. Definitely. And those other two, they said they couldn't stop him after you left. Jace looks away, staring off into space. Fucking Flynn, dude. He says nothing, and soon Devon and Cameron are exchanging nervous glances with one another. Next thing they know, the otter is walking off without another word. Wait, hold on. He swears under his breath. Cameron looking on with crossed arms as Chase heads towards his car. Ah, fuck. He's not go- Oh, damn, he totally is. What the hell? Devon whines. Fuck, I was being insensitive, wasn't I? You never know when you strike a nerve with these kind of things. These kind of things? What do you mean? Devon quirks on a curious brow towards the coyote, though judging by his grimaced reaction, Cam regrets bringing it up and doesn't speak further. They hear the sound of an engine starting in the distance. Devon sighs. Good thing we brought our Jeep instead of riding with him, eh? Fuck. Cameron frowns, reaching up and holding the big guy's arm. Hey, don't worry. I'll get the camera. Exploring on your own could be pretty cool, right? The bear's nostrils flare in a hefty exhale. Yeah, I'll pull the Jeep around. Camera gives Devon a thumbs up before moving to grab the camera. He's about to close the viewfinder display. He notices a green square appear in the center of the frame. He leans down to look more closely, pressing the display adjust button. Face detection disabled. The square vanishes. Huh? He hits the button again. The square returns. That's weird. He flicks the switch on the side to auto-white balance the image. The whole screen flashes as the lens adjusts as it comes into focus. Fuck! A lizard stands in the darkness behind the bars, but he can't stare. Not really. Because his eyes are gone. Half of his muscle missing. Cameron jumps back, tripping over the rocks and landing against the sharp edges. The coyote hisses in pain, but fear spurs him on, trying to scramble up the rocks after Devon. The bear's already turned around, though, reaching down to pull Cameron up. Shit, are you alright? What happened? Cameron clings to the larger bear as he looks back, but nothing's there. I don't know, I saw... Devon looks in the same direction, squinting. Cameron stares a while longer, then turns back and shakes his head against Dev's chest. When Cameron looks up at the bear, he's grinning though. Holy shit! Did you just see a ghost? Coyote scowls. What? No. I just thought I saw something. It was probably the camera glitching out. The bear gives him an annoying smile. What? You're gonna be believer by the end of all this, I know it. Grizzly hugs him tightly as Cameron frowns, still looking back at the cavern's entrance. It had been so real. But before he can even really collect himself, Devin is pulling him and the camera along back to the Jeep. It's probably GG for today. I will get to the side stories. I think they were in here, yeah, exactly. I will get to the side stories, but first I want to do Arches. I'm gonna be honest, as much as I liked it, I need a break from Echo, especially after the ending. Because that ending was fucked, dude. Like, they fucked in a good way. They took what I personally deem the only decent character and completely fucked him in the ass. Because, to me, after they switched the so what I thought would be happening is after they switched kind of like the protagonist to Flynn, I was like, oh, they're going to pull a bait and switch, and Flynn was the protagonist all along. I understood why they would go with Chase at the start, because he's kind of like Sydney's murderer and the one who keeps the group, or is kind of like the dark glue that brought this group back together. But Flynn was actually the one who wanted to, yeah, basically end everything. As to say, he wanted to find out who killed Sydney. He wanted to, but I guess that obsession got him killed in the end. And yeah, it's kind of fucky, you know? Really is. I'm gonna miss Flynn. Yeah. Because the worst part about this is like, Flynn is the only one of the main cast who died, and he died twice. Like, he had to die in TJ's timeline, and he had to even die in his own fucking timeline. That poor guy. What the fuck did he do ever wrong? There's something I didn't catch? Anyways. Amazing story. Amazing writing. Absolutely fantastic. It's very, very good. It really is. And I do understand why it kicked off the fandom it did, and why it was so successful as it was. The overall, yeah, okay, that is true. I will agree with that. And Flynn was the one who was most attached to the past, together with Leo. Yeah, exactly. Flynn's most attached out of everyone. Yeah, Leo would be the second one for me. Who couldn't let go of things. I would say with the general suggested route order. Yes and no. I would say definitely play Flynn last. Because Flynn ties everything kinda together and makes more sense if you play the other routes. I will agree with that. But I personally think that with the other four you can't just mix and match, and the order just exists basically to make sure people stay with the visual novel, because I think Carl and then Jenna are the weakest routes. So I guess why people would say get those out of the way first. And TJ is just a fucking gut punch. And then the one Leo's route makes a little bit more sense after you played Flynn, I would almost claim. So it doesn't really matter when you play Leo anyways. Leo is a little bit more dependent on Flynn. It's almost good that we didn't play Leo and Flynn back to back though, because of the similar happenings at the lake. I mean, there's a lot of overlapping between the routes anyways in some regards, not in all regards, mind you. Like 80% is always new material. But yeah, it's I think Flynn last is probably for the best. And then the rest is just yeah, overall I have to say absolutely fantastic. It's I'm just mad they treated Flynn like they did. But in a good way. Also, Flynn is S tier. I'm gonna tell you all that now. That's the only thing I'm gonna reveal for the upcoming tier list after Arches. The tier list will probably be also the routes. So I'm gonna categorize the routes and everything in the storylines. Also, not just the characters. So it's gonna be a bit of a thing. Yeah. Yeah, great visual novel. Glad I played it. I don't have really more to say. I need to replay it probably to pick up a little bit more on the nuances. Which I might do. I might do a video on it at some point and give my real unfiltered thoughts about it. But for now, what we are going to do is we are gonna wrap up for today because I planned on just finishing this. It's been fantastic. I'm looking forward to Arches next Saturday. So in less than a week, we are going to play some Arches. Be there or be square. And yeah, with that being said, I've been TheOrcosaurus. I wish you all a happy new year already. Come over well, and I'll see you all on the flip side. And yeah, I see you next year. Take care, everyone. And bye-bye. Time for pie, exactly. I'm always staying real. Thank you for being here, King Alpha and everyone. Bye-bye.